Researchers at Texas A&M are monitoring Houston waterways flooded by Harvey, and what they've found so far will churn your stomach. Fox 7's Noelle Newton traveled to their lab today. She joins us now in studio with the story.
As you can imagine, the floodwater went through pastures and homes. The fecal bacteria level was more than 100 times the standard rate. Now that the water has receded, new dangers have emerged. Definitely something to think about if you plan on volunteering for any cleanup efforts.
The samples are labeled with a date, and then the bottles it goes into.
Texas A&M Associate Professor Terry Gentry and his lab technician test water samples from New Braunfels.
And we're trying to look at the levels in this water sample and see how that compares back against the primary contact recreational standards.
They specialize in searching for E. coli in water and tracing the source to help remedy an unhealthy situation. On August 29th, when Hurricane Harvey moved out of Houston, Gentry went into Cypress, northwest of the city, and pulled samples from flooded waterways.
The levels were very high of E. coli, and so they're around 125 times higher than our primary contact recreation standard.
Fecal matter 125 times that of an acceptable rate. Gentry says that means a very likely presence of bacteria, viruses, and organisms that can cause disease. You don't have to necessarily swallow the water to get sick.
It's if you get your hands in contact with the water and then you're handling food, it can get transferred into your mouth that way as well. And so there's other ways besides just directly ingesting the water itself.
To Gentry, the widespread flooding presented a unique situation.
The difference being in this case that the water was spread such wider and there's other potential sources of contamination, whereas in a normal stormwater event the water is usually contained within the stream channel itself, and there's less chance that people are going to come in contact with it. In this case, because the water is so widespread, people are in contact and they just have to be in contact in order to get out of their houses, get in their houses.
The health risk isn't limited to E. coli. Those who have gone back to their properties are now battling a host of respiratory issues from mold and skin infections, including flesh-eating bacteria.
It can get into their bloodstream and they can get very sick, requiring ICU care. And eventually they need very aggressive surgery to take off the dead tissue.
To help, Harris County Public Health is bringing wellness services into communities affected and offering vaccinations. Gentry has gone back to test water 2 more times. Those visits were in Clear Lake, southeast of Houston. Last Friday, the E. coli level was actually lower than the standard rate, but he cautions that won't be the case everywhere.
It's encouraging to me with the numbers being lower and looks like they're going down in the weeks we sampled. That's encouraging news, and by no means that the water is safe.
Gentry plans to go back to test water again. Should you head to a Harvey-affected area, you're encouraged to cover your nose and mouth like you saw in that video while handling flood-soaked materials. You'll also want to make sure you're up to date on your tetanus shot.